perspective. All right. So this first demo is something we're calling the Moneymaker, which focuses on fundraising in higher ed, or you'll see us refer to it as advancement. So this demo is near and dear to me as someone who's spent several years in on the data side of higher ed fundraising or advancement. So one problem in this space is that there are a ton of data points that are used to help prospect donors, like alumni information, what was their major, fundraising history, contact history, other philanthropic giving, event attendance, wealth information, and all these all these data points are coming together from different sources at different cadences. So researchers and fundraisers have to spend a ton of time in reporting tools like Tableau or Cognos or even just exporting to Excel in order to identify prospects instead of actually taking the time to strategize for and build relationships with those prospects and ultimately with the goal of securing funding for the university. So what if we could be more agile with that? Could agentic architecture help with that? So let's assume that we've got all of these data points accessible from our common data fabric that is connected to a natural language chat. We're going to use Claude in this demo, but you can imagine it being connected to any interface, even a custom one, connected to any LLM, even custom ones that you have access to. So I'm going to assume the role of a fundraising officer, or maybe if you're in a larger advancement shop, a dedicated prospect researcher on a dedicated prospect research team who's looking to identify an open dialogue with potential donors or prospects. I'm also going to quickly caveat for anyone who's familiar with advancement that the demo we're presenting here is really compressed in terms of workflow and in terms of time. Typically, you don't go from the initial stage of the prospect pipeline, the identification stage, all the way through to communication or solicitation over the span of a few emails or prompts like we're going to here. But we're just compressing it down so that you can get an idea of the types of tasks that can be accelerated by this kind of agentic architecture. So with that, let's get to the actual demo. I am going to pop in this prompt and say, use our advancement prospecting assistant to provide a list of 3 individuals that meet the following criteria. A new job title, a C-suite job title like CEO, CFO, COO within the last month, total historical donations of 25K or greater, and a propensity score of 90 or higher. A propensity score is just an amalgamation of other data points like, again, previous giving. Are they an alumnus of the university? Do they have connected relationships to other people? Like, are they parents of of students in the university? Things like that. So I'll send this in and voila. In the matter of seconds there, it gave me a list of 3 people, David Davis, Laura Pulisic-Balogun, and Thomas von Nistelrooy, who all have new titles, CEO, CFO, COO, within the last month, like I requested, with over 25K of donations and a propensity score of 90 or higher. I could go into Salesforce and show you all these that they are not, hallucinated or anything. I promise they're not. And it gives us some information here about who David Davis, Laura Pulisic-Balogun, and Thomas von Nistelrooy are, and it highlights that David Davis is the standout here. Notice too that it's giving me a question: do I want to log these as a case in Salesforce? The underlying tool or the underlying tools we've exposed to Claude here have a case creation bit to it. That's why it's asking me that. And we will do that, but just in a couple minutes. So yeah, in a matter of just seconds there, we got this list. And instead of having to look for the correct reports across, a bunch of reporting tools, edit report prompt, export and filter the data in Excel, compare things, do VLOOKUPs, all that nonsense. And we're not working with stale data, right? It's all connected directly to, whatever sources we've got connected to our data fabric. We just got this information like that, and we can trust that it's not stale. So before we do this case bit that it suggested, let's prep an outreach email. So I'm going to pop in this prompt. Let's focus on David Davis. Pull his complete dossier, including his affinity area for the university, which we did already get in this last pull, and draft an outreach email suggesting an endowment for an initiative in that area. Oh, and it says I don't even need to do that. All right. Um, I do want to point out too something I forgot to mention. This underlying tool here, Fetch the Prospects. This is a tool that we've built in SnapLogic, and it only has read access to Salesforce data and a couple of Snowflake tables. It does not have the ability to create, update, or delete records in those objects, tables, or any other parts of our data model, right? It's really tightly guardrailed. And that's an important thing, right? You don't want the AI to like hallucinate. Did you want me to delete everybody that wasn't in that criteria set? Even if it did hallucinate that in some nightmare scenario, it physically cannot do that because the tools that are exposed to to Claude here don't have that capability. Cool. So remember, I asked it to draft an outreach email and provide the dossier. So here's the complete dossier, and here is David's sorry, the outreach email. And actually, it's given us one, two, three possible email drafts depending on with different tones. We'll just go with this first one. Congrats on your recent appointment as CEO. Your connection to engineering has been a great deal to our community over the years. We're currently exploring new opportunities to establish a new endowed initiative. Would you be open to a conversation in the coming weeks? So again, you probably wouldn't want this to be fired off immediately, right? You'd want to maybe take some time to strategize with your researcher or your manager or other colleagues. So rather than have this send out, and again, it physically cannot because we don't have a tool there that will do that. You could have one if you wanted, but maybe not the best move. We're going to do what it asked us to do, or asked us what we wanted if we wanted to do this. We're going to say, this looks perfect. Log it in Salesforce as a pending case and write the entire first email draft included in the case description. We want to make sure there's a human in the loop touch point here. Again, it's logging a case in Salesforce, which is a tool we've exposed to it from SnapLogic, to Claude from SnapLogic. And this does have create privileges on the case object in Salesforce, but it's again, very tightly guardrailed. It can only do certain things. It can only create prospecting cases in this instance. So again, after just a second, it says I've successfully created a case. I can copy that ID, go to Salesforce, pop that case ID in the URL there. Cool trick about Salesforce, if you didn't know, you can just throw it in after your force.com and it'll take you to it. And boom, there it is. David Davis case is in the status of working. It's assigned to me, which is cool. And it says the email that we asked it to include in the description of the case. So awesome. That is the end of demo one. And just to summarize, in a really short time span there, we were able to lubricate that prospecting pipeline. And we bypassed the need to trawl through multiple reports and screens. And any newly available data is accessible immediately because it's all connected to our data fabric. And SnapLogic can communicate with that immediately through which we were able to do through our agent here. Cool. So that is the end of the first demo.